All right. Well, first off, can you kind of break down, and you and I have discussed this before, but who exactly the Houthis are?
The Houthis started as an armed insurgency 2 decades ago in 2004. Initially, it was a movement that was trying to revive the Zaydi sect of Islam in northern Yemen. But like every other religious group, it quickly turned into seeking political gains, power, and wealth. And in 2014, they seized control of the capital in Yemen, Sana'a. And 2 decades later now, we are in this situation where they are alleging that they're supporting Gaza by targeting maritime commerce in the Red Sea and Arabian Sea.
What you're looking at now is that video the Houthis released showing explosives that are placed all over that Greek flagged oil tanker. The ship has already been abandoned by its crew, the crew rescued. So, what are the Houthis hoping to accomplish by then going in and booby trapping the tanker?
Yeah. First, the facts are that this tanker was carrying Iraqi crude oil. It's a Greek ship. It was not linked to Israel. The Houthis claimed that the shipping company was doing business with Israel. So the Houthis are trying to shut down any commercial activities with Israel. The reason why they went on board the ship after it was evacuated and planted bombs and booby-trapped it, one, it's a show of force. It's a show of force for their population. It's a show of force to their regional allies within the Axis of Resistance or the Iranian threat network. And it's a show of force to Israel because they wanted to retaliate for Israel's attack on Hodeidah port. So the explosion that we saw on the tanker mirrors to them the explosion that we saw on the fuel depots in Hodeidah port in Yemen, which the Houthis control.
And how dangerous of a situation overall is this? Because it's now been more than a week since that attack. We're talking very close to 10 days, and the fires appear to still be burning on board.
Yes, satellite imaging today and yesterday showed that there's still fires on board. The fact that the Houthis planted explosives on it means that you'll need some EOD teams that will go in to clear the ships before anyone could go in and move it. The big question today is the ship even, are you going to be able to even tow the ship? And that's the big question that it's not clear yet till we have teams on board. But if the ship sinks and it leaks, it will be probably one of the top 10 biggest environmental disasters linked to an oil tanker leaks.
Have we seen the Houthis conduct attacks this massive in the past? Anything even really close to this?
Yeah, so the international community and the world media are only aware of the Houthi attacks in the post-October 7 era. So since November till today, the Houthis claim themselves that they've targeted close to 200 ships. However, from 2016 to 2022, the Houthis have targeted 12 other ships, including tankers, including transport ships, military ships, including they attempted to target some of the US Navy vessels. So this is not something new. However, the frequency of these attacks are very high. And due to the circumstances linked to the Gaza war, it's garnering a lot of attention.
And again, you are looking at that video there that was released by the Houthis coming in courtesy Reuters. As far as the havoc that essentially the Houthis have been able to wreak there over in the Red Sea and really in the Middle East, does it show any signs of letting up anytime soon?
Well, it's too soon to say that that's the case, especially with the US-led coalition and the presence of EU warships. However, we're seeing that the Houthis are now using less ballistic missiles, perhaps more drones, but they're introducing manned crews, so small vessels that carrying fighters with small arms and RPGs, your classical traditional piracy activities on the Red Sea. The interesting thing that we're noticing also recently is that most of the US Navy presence is pretty far away from U.S. territory, from Yemen territorial waters, which could hint that the U.S. military now is going to be seeking to target Houthi drones and missiles and radar stations over their horizons without endangering any naval assets. So the problem is, even when there's stretches of days that there's no attacks, there's only coverage and there's only attention on them when they do such big attacks like they did this week. So this is serving them.
And we kind of touched on this a little when we talked about the Houthis' capabilities, but I want to ask you, how do those capabilities overall compare to some of the other terror organizations there, including Hamas and Hezbollah?
Yeah. Different from Hamas and Hezbollah, even Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq, or PMF in Iraq, and other Shia militia groups in the region. The Houthis, when they seized the capital in 2014, 21st of September 2014, they've seized one of the top largest military forces in the Middle East. And that included North Korean ballistic missiles, Soviet-era missiles, and all the conventional weaponry that you will expect from a Russian-equipped military. This is on one aspect of their power. The other aspect is, out of all the Iran allies today, the Houthis are the de facto government in North Yemen. So they control they're the de facto power in northern Yemen, and they control, even though they control a quarter of the country, geographically speaking, they do control at this point 80% of the population. So they have revenues, they have an arsenal, and with Iran's backing, sending all these sophisticated ballistic weapons and drones and the transfer of knowledge and technology, they are more powerful than Hezbollah, more powerful than Hamas, and more powerful than the other militias in Iraq. But they're not as loyal to Iran as those other groups, because in Iraq and in Hezbollah in Lebanon, they see Khamenei, or the supreme leader in Iran, as their supreme leader, their saint. So there's a religious aspect to it. For the Houthis, they don't see that. They're more like Hamas, a Sunni group that has more of an alliance, a strategic alliance with Iran, than them following Khamenei as blindly as their religious supreme leader.
One question that I know a lot of people have asked over the last few months here is, if a ceasefire deal, even temporarily, is reached between Israel and Hamas, would those attacks by the Houthis actually stop there in the Red Sea? Because they've said that that is essentially their goal, is to end this Gaza war. So would that actually make a difference, or would the attacks likely continue?
I think the attacks will temporarily stop. I think the frequency of attacks will definitely be lower, and we'll see a decline in the frequency and the intensity of it. However, I think the Houthis now have figured out or deciphered the code of how to get the attention of the regional powers and the international community. The same way North Korea uses Japan Sea and firing rockets over the Japan Sea to get what they want. So the Houthis are going to be using these maritime attacks to get what they want, and they could be continuing to target U.S. and U.K. Navy vessels in the long term, claiming that they're trying to avenge their soldiers or fighters that they were killed. Next time we see someone who burned a mosque in the X country in the world, they could be targeting that country. The thing is that initially when the Houthis started, they started as a local group, and today they're a transnational group. So they see themselves as representing the Muslim nation, the Muslim Ummah. They see themselves as representing beyond the Yemeni borders. So because of that representations and that the hubris and the megalomaniac mentality that they have, they could be using these maritime attacks to get what they want.
All right, Basha, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and break it all down. Anything else you want to add about really any of this before I let you go?
No, we hope that the tanker will be salvaged, that will be towed. Otherwise, the same way that the Houthis claim that they're targeting Israel and hurting Israel, the one country that's losing the most resources from all this situation is Egypt and the Suez Canal. And if there's a leak on a million barrel of leak in the Red Sea, then the people of Yemen, the fishing communities in Yemen, will be damaged more than anyone else.
All right, Basha, thank you again for being here with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, I do want to take a closer look at that video once again as Yemen's Houthi rebels releasing that footage showing the terror group's fighters boarding and then booby-trapping that Greek-flagged oil tanker in the Red Sea. Now, the video shows the vessel that was abandoned by its crew after the Houthis repeatedly attacked it. And in the footage, the Iran-backed terror group can be heard chanting, quote, "Death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews," among other comments. The tanker carried about 1 million barrels of oil when the Houthis initially attacked back nearly 10 days ago on August 21st with small arms fire, projectiles, and a drone boat. A French destroyer was able to rescue the crew there, which included 25 people from the Philippines and Russia, along with 4 private security personnel.